The snow had been falling since morning. Thick white flakes covered the ground, the trees. In the old wooden cabin on the edge of the forest, inside, Tomal sat near the fire, sharpening his hunting knife. He lived alone, high in the mountains, far from the cities and the noise. Life was quiet, simple, just the way he liked it. Tomal was in his mid-30s, with a strong build, short black hair, and kind but tired eyes. He wasn't always alone once. He had family and neighbors, but most had left the village years ago, looking for jobs in distant places. Now, only Tomal remained. The wind howled outside, and the trees creaked. He threw another log into the fire and leaned back, just as he closed his eyes. A deep boom shook the cabin. Tomal jumped up. The sound came from the north, near the hilltop. It wasn't thunder. It wasn't a tree falling. It sounded like something had crashed. He grabbed his coat, boots, and flashlight. The snow was deep outside, but Tomal had walked these paths since he was a boy. He moved quickly through the forest, following the faint trail of smoke rising above the trees. After 20 minutes, he reached the crash site. A strange, silver object lay half buried in the snow. It was shaped like a half-melted egg, cracked. Down the middle, blue lights blinked along its sides. Steam hissed from broken vents. The object was not from Earth. Tomal knew that the moment he saw it. He stepped closer. Heart pounding. A soft noise came from inside like a moan. Then another, louder this time. Tomal raised his flashlight. Suddenly, a panel opened on the side of the object, and 3 figures stumbled out. He froze. They weren't human. The first was tall, with smooth purple skin and wide black eyes. The second was shorter, pale green, with 4 thin arms. The third looked closest to human, but her skin shimmered with a silver tint, and her hair floated like mist. All 3 collapsed into the snow. Tomal hesitated. Then, without thinking, he rushed forward. "Hey, are you okay?" he asked, though he wasn't sure they could understand. The silver-skinned one looked up, blinking slowly. "Lost, we're lost," she whispered. "Human help." Tomal's breath caught in his chest. He nodded quickly. "I'll help. You're freezing." He took off his coat and covered the nearest one, purple skin and unconscious. Then he began dragging them, one by one, back to his cabin. It took him over an hour. The snow was heavier now, but he was strong. He used a small sled he kept, hidden under a pine tree. By the time he reached home, his arms ached and his face was numb. Inside the cabin, he laid them by the fire. He brought warm blankets and heated soup, though he wasn't sure they could eat it. One of them, the silver-skinned girl, slowly sat up. She looked around, confused but calm. "You? Safe," she said slowly. "You human?" Tomal nodded. "Yes, my name's Tomal. I live here." The girl touched her chest, named Rima. "Others, Cole and Tara." She pointed to the purple-skinned one and the green one with 4 arms. Tomal smiled gently. "You're safe now." By morning, all 3 had woken. They sat huddled near the fire, wrapped in thick blankets. Tomal had given them water, dry clothes, and even tried giving them some bread and honey. Rima seemed to enjoy it. Cole sniffed it suspiciously before finally chewing a bite. Tara didn't eat but looked stronger than before. Tomal watched them carefully. He had read stories about aliens when he was younger. Some were friendly, others dangerous. But these 3 looked tired, scared, and lost. Just like anyone would be after a crash, Rima spoke the best. She explained that they were on a mission, scientific, peaceful. Something had gone wrong with their ship's controls. They were thrown off course and ended up here. Now, no signal. Rima said sadly, "Can't call. Home?" Tomal rubbed his chin. "Maybe I can help. I have some old radios, solar panels. Not much, but maybe we can fix something." Cole, the purple-skinned one, perked up. "You build things?" Tomal smiled. "I fix what breaks. Out here, you have to." Tara stood quietly by the window, watching the falling snow. She finally spoke, her voice soft and musical. "Your world, cold, but warm here." Tomal chuckled. "That's the fire." She turned and gave a small smile. "No, warm from you?" Tomel didn't know what to say to that. By evening, the cabin no longer felt quiet. It was still small, just one main room and a sleeping loft, but now laughter echoed inside. Rima asked about Earth, about trees and snow. Cole was amazed by firewood and asked if it grew from the ground. Tara listened to everything, eyes thoughtful. Tomel made extra stew, fixed up a small heater with solar batteries, and gave them the extra quilts he kept from his grandmother. It was strange, but he didn't feel bothered by their presence. In fact, for the first time in years, he didn't feel alone. That night, before they slept, Rima looked at him and said, "You help us, Tomel. We will remember." He nodded, feeling something shift inside him. Outside, the snow kept falling, but inside the cabin, something new had begun. The next morning, the cabin was filled with soft light through frosted windows. Outside, snow still blanketed the ground, but inside, the fire crackled warmly. Tomel sat at the small wooden table, drinking strong black tea. The aliens were awake, sitting quietly near the fire, their strange forms still seeming fragile but stronger than before. Rima looked around the cabin again. She touched the wooden walls with slow, careful hands, as if they were strange objects, simple. She said quietly, "No, metal ship. No, bright lights." Tomel smiled. "This is how people live here. Simple and quiet." Cole stretched. His long arms, warm fire, better than cold stars. Tara moved closer to the window and watched the snow. Earth cold, but inside warm. "You make safe place." Tomel nodded. "That's what a home is." For a moment, all four sat silently, listening to the fire's soft crackle. Then Rima looked up. "We must fix ship. Send message. Go home." Tomel understood. They wanted to leave, but their ship was badly broken. Cole said, "No power, no signal, no help." Tomel rubbed his chin. "I have some old radios and solar panels. Maybe we can make something work." Rima's eyes brightened. "You help us," Tomel smiled. "I will try." Over the next days, Tomel worked hard. He brought out his tools from an old box and unpacked wires, batteries, and broken radio parts. The aliens watched with fascination. Cole asked many questions. "What, this part? Why use wire?" Tomel showed him how electricity worked. How solar panels caught sunlight to make power. Rima was curious about the little stove Tomel used for cooking. How fire start? Tomel laughed. With matches or lighter. But fire can be dangerous too. Tara spent time watching Tomel. She seemed quiet but thoughtful. One evening, Tomel brought out a small, dusty radio. "If we can fix this, maybe it will send a message to your people." Rima nodded. "Yes, please." Cole leaned closer. "We need signal. Soon." During the day, Tomel helped them get used to Earth's cold weather. He showed them how to dress in layers, how to walk in snow without falling. Cole was clumsy but laughed. When he slipped once, Rima tried to light a small fire herself but almost burned her fingers. Tomel was patient. "It's okay. You learn." Tara asked many questions about plants. "What is this? How it grow?" Tomel explained simply. "That is a pine tree. It stays green all year." Tara smiled. "Beautiful." As the days passed, the aliens grew stronger. They began to talk more, though their words were still broken. One afternoon, a strange noise came from outside. Tomel looked through the window but saw nothing but snow and trees. Rima's eyes narrowed. "We feel watched." Tomel frowned. "Watched by who?" Cole said. "From home. Hunters come for runaways." Tomel's heart beat faster. "Hunters," Rima explained, "our people. Not all kind. Some send hunters to find lost or escapees. They do not want us to leave." Tomel's hand tightened on the table. "We must be careful." That night, Tomel and the aliens talked quietly. He asked, "What will hunters do if they find you?" Rima's voice was low. "They will take us back, punish us." Cole looked scared, or worse. Tomel shook his head. "You are safe here. I will protect you." Tara smiled softly. "Thank you, Tomel." Days turned into a week. The small cabin became busy and lively. Tomel, Rima, Cole, and Tara worked together to fix the radio and solar panels. Tomal taught them about Earth's simple machines. The aliens shared small pieces of their technology. Strange devices that Tomal studied with wonder. One afternoon, Tomal fixed a broken antenna. The radio crackled to life, sending weak signals into the cold sky. Rima smiled, tears in her eyes. "Thank you, Tomal. You save us." Tomal felt warmth in his chest. For the first time in a long time, he felt needed. But the aliens did not rush to leave. Rima said one evening, "We must wait for reply." Cole nodded. "But cabin warm. You good?" Tara looked at Tomal. "We want to stay. For now." Tomal blinked, surprised. "You want to stay here?" he asked carefully. Rima smiled softly. "You gave us shelter. We feel safe. Earth cold but your heart warm." Tomal was quiet. Outside, the snow continued to fall softly. Inside, the fire glowed warmly. Tomal looked at the three strange visitors, no longer just lost aliens, but something more, friends. "We will find a way," Tomal said, "together." And for now, that was enough. The winter days passed slowly. Snow still covered the trees and hills. The cold wind blew strong. But inside Tomal's wooden cabin, it was warm and full of life. Tomal stood by the workbench, fixing wires from an old radio. Cole sat nearby, holding a small alien device in his four hands. Rima was writing symbols on a notebook using a pen for the first time. Tara sat on the floor, drawing shapes on the wooden floor with her finger. Lost in thought, Tomal wiped sweat from his brow. "The radio's working again," he said. "But I don't know if anyone will hear." Rima leaned forward. "We must try." Cole nodded. "Signal weak, but better than nothing." Tomal had connected to solar panels to charge the old radio's battery. They sent a short signal every few hours, just a repeating sound. With alien code, it was the best they could do. But no one replied. One night, after dinner, Tomal sat near the fire with the three aliens. The cabin felt cozy. Outside, wind howled against the walls, but inside, the fire kept them safe. Tomal asked, "What is your home like?" Rima looked into the flames. "Big cities, tall towers. No snow, no silence." Cole added, "No forests. Only metal and machines." Tara spoke softly. "Home cold, but not like here. Cold inside, not outside." Tomal looked at her. "What do you mean?" She smiled faintly. "People there, no warmth, no kindness like yours." Tomal was quiet. He thought about his own life. He had lived alone for years. He never thought of himself as warm or kind. He just helped because it was right. "You miss your home?" he asked. Rima looked away. "Sometimes." Cole shook his head. "Not much." Tara didn't answer. The next morning, something strange happened. Tomal went outside to check the signal antenna. As he walked around the cabin, he saw tracks in the snow, fresh ones. They weren't his. He bent down and touched them. They were long and deep. Not made by human boots. Not made by the aliens either. Something else had passed through the forest during the night. He returned to the cabin quickly. "There's something out there," he said. Cole stood up. "What kind?" Tomal shook his head. "Don't know." But it walked onto legs. Heavy. Rima's face grew serious. "Could be a hunter." Tomal stared at her. "You really think they followed you here?" Rima nodded. "If they tracked the crash, they may be close." Tara whispered, "They do not forgive runaways." Tomal looked at the three aliens. "Then we need to be ready over the next few days." Tomal helped them prepare. He showed Cole how to set traps using ropes and branches. Cole was fast and smart. He learned quickly. Tomal gave Rima his old hunting knife. "Just in case," he said. She held it carefully, nodding. Tara worked with Tomal to strengthen the door and cover the windows with extra wood. "If they come, we will not run," she said. Tomal agreed. "We stand together, even with danger near." They still laughed sometimes. Cole learned how to use a spoon properly and spilled soup on himself, making everyone laugh. Rima tried to sing a human song she had heard on the radio. Her voice was strange, but sweet. Tara spent more time near Tomal, asking about Earth stories. He told her about trees that turned golden in autumn, about rivers that sparkled in the sun, about stars you could see at night far from city lights. She listened quietly, eyes wide. Your world is gentle, she said. Mel smiled. Sometimes. One evening, they all sat in silence. The radio crackled, then stopped. Still no reply. The air inside the cabin felt heavy. Cole sighed. Maybe no one is coming. Rima looked tired. Maybe they don't care, Tara said softly. Or maybe it's better that way. Tomo looked at her. You don't want to go home? She shook her head slowly. What we had there was rules, orders, cold walls. Here, we feel alive. Tomo didn't know what to say. He felt something deep inside, something he hadn't felt in years. A strange warmth that had nothing to do with fire. You're welcome here, he said quietly. As long as you need. They looked at him, their faces full of silent thanks. But later that night, Tomo couldn't sleep. He stepped outside, the snow crunching under his boots. The sky was clear, full of stars. Suddenly, he saw a red light in the distance, just a flash. Then gone. He narrowed his eyes. Something or someone was out there, watching. The next morning, Tomo was quiet. He didn't tell the others about the red light he saw in the forest. He didn't want to worry them yet. Maybe it was just a trick of the eye. Maybe it was nothing. But deep in his heart, he knew something was out there. He stepped outside and checked the snow. The strange tracks were still there, deep, sharp, and perfect. They didn't belong to any animal or human. And they were fresh again. Mel followed them a little, but the trail ended suddenly behind a line of trees. No more prints, like the visitor had vanished. He returned to the cabin with a heavy feeling in his chest. Inside, Cole was working with wires, trying to improve the signal device. Rima was boiling water for tea. Tara was sitting near the window, her eyes watching the trees carefully. Tomo walked in and closed the door behind him. There's something in the forest, he said. They all looked at him. I saw a red light. Last night, the tracks are back again. Someone's watching us. Cole stood up quickly. Hunter. Rima nodded. They found us. Tara stood slowly. We must hide. But Tomo shook his head. No. You've been hiding long enough. We'll fight if we must. But we'll be smart about it. Tomo pulled out his old toolbox. Inside were nails, wire, small steel parts, into small hunting traps. He hadn't used them in years. We'll make traps, he said. We'll protect the cabin. Cole helped him set up alarms using cans, wires, and bells. If someone stepped too close, the bells would ring. Tara dug small holes near the trees and covered them with snow and branches. Tomo placed sharp sticks inside, just deep enough to scare, not kill. Rima worked on the communicator. If we can send a short burst message, it might reach a listening post, she said. Mel watched her carefully. Will they come for you or send more hunters? Rima paused. I don't know, but we need someone to know we are here. You shouldn't face this danger alone. Tomo gave a small smile. I'm not alone anymore. That night, the wind was quiet. No howling, no storm. Just silence. To quiet. They all stayed awake. The fire burned low. Tomo held his old rifle, not for hunting tonight, but for protection. Suddenly, a bell rang outside. Ding! Then another. Ding ding. Tomo jumped to his feet. It's here. Cole moved to the back door with a sharp metal rod he had built from alien parts. Rima grabbed the hunting knife Tomo had given her. Tara held a small stun device that sparked. Gently in her hand, Tomo opened the window just a crack. Outside, the snow moved. No. Something moved through the snow, a shadow. And then he saw it, a tall, dark figure walked silently between the trees. Its body was smooth and silver, shaped like a suit of armor. A red light glowed in its chest and eyes. It didn't walk like a man, it glided, fast and quiet. Hunter drone, Rima whispered. That's one of them. Tomo's grip on the rifle tightened. It looks like a machine. Cole nodded. It is part machine, part living. No mercy, no fear. The hunter stopped near one of the traps. It stepped forward. Snap. A hidden pit opened under its foot. It dropped in with a crash. Cole smiled. Got it. but the smile faded fast. The hunter rose from the hole slowly, arms glowing with light. It looked straight at the cabin. Then it moved. Fast. To fast. Get back, Tomel shouted. The hunter slammed into the door. Wood cracked. The second hit broke it open. The machine stepped inside. Eyes glowing red. It scanned the room. Its voice was cold. Runaways detected. Eliminate. Tara raised her stun device and fired. A blue spark hit the hunter's chest. It shook but didn't fall. Tomel fired his rifle. Bang! The bullet hit the hunter's arm. Sparks flew. It turned toward him. Cole ran forward and jammed his rod into the machine's leg. It sparked again, and the hunter stumbled. Rima jumped on its back, stabbing with the hunting knife. The blade slid into a joint. The hunter made a strange sound like a scream and a roar mixed. It shook her off. Tara threw a metal pan at its head. Clang! Tomel grabbed a heavy axe from the corner. Now! He shouted. He swung hard. The axe hit the hunter's neck. Crack! The red light blinked. Once. Twice. Then it faded. The hunter fell to the floor. Sparks flying from its chest. Silence returned. For a moment, no one spoke. They stood in the broken doorway, breathing hard, watching the dead machine. Then Cole dropped to his knees. We did it. Rima sat down, shaking. We fought back. Tara looked at Tomel. You protected us. Tomel looked around at the cabin broken door, scattered wood, the heavy body of the hunter on the floor. He nodded. We protected each other. That night, they repaired the door as best as they could. The cabin was damaged, but still standing. The fire was warm again, and the hunter's body was now outside, buried under snow. Rima touched Tomel's shoulder. Thank you. You didn't have to help. Tomel looked at her. You came to me for help, and now, your family, Tara, smiled. We don't want to leave. Not yet. Tomel didn't answer. But he didn't need to. He simply nodded. Outside, the wind blew softly again, and inside, for being sat together by the fire, no longer strangers. The morning after the fight, the air outside was still and quiet. The snow on the ground was smooth again, as if nature had tried to cover up the battle. Inside the cabin, Tomel sat at the table, wrapping a bandage around Cole's arm. The purple-skinned alien winced but didn't complain. You were brave, Tomel said, tying the bandage. Cole gave a small smile. You were braver. Tomel shook his head. We all fought. That's what matters. The broken door had been repaired with wooden boards and metal sheets from the old storage shed. The hunter's body was buried deep in the forest, hidden under logs and snow. They had taken no chances. Rima was quiet as she sipped hot tea, her eyes fixed on the window. If one hunter came, she said softly, others may follow. Tomel nodded. That's what I'm afraid of. Tara was sitting near the fire, turning a small alien device in her hands. We need to prepare. Next time, they may be stronger. Tomel agreed. Then let's prepare. Over the next 3 days, the cabin turned into a workshop. Tomel worked with Cole to build stronger traps, ones that could shock or slow down machines. They used parts from the broken hunter, adding small energy cells to the traps. Rima helped Tomel upgrade the cabin's defenses. She created a small energy field using parts from the crashed ship. It couldn't stop a full attack, but it would. Delay 1. Tara, quiet as always, designed a set of warning lights that flashed red when motion was detected outside. They placed them in a wide circle around the cabin. Tomel also taught them more about survival on Earth, how to read animal tracks, how to move quietly in snow, how to hide when needed. You learn fast. He told Cole. Cole laughed. You teach. Well, though they worked hard, there were also small moments of peace. At night, they sat around the fire, sharing stories. Rima spoke of her childhood on a floating city above green oceans. Cole talked about learning to fly before he could walk. Tara spoke less, but once told a story about a flower that only bloomed once every 10 years and how she had waited to see it. Tomel listened, amazed by how different their lives were and yet how familiar their feelings sounded. On the 4th night, just as they finished dinner, one of Tara's red lights blinked. Cole noticed it first. Something's moving. Everyone stood up. Another light flashed. Then a third. Tomal grabbed his axe. Rima held the hunting knife. Tara had her stun device ready. Then the sound came loud and heavy like machines walking through snow. Boom, boom, boom. Through the window, they saw them, to more hunter drones, taller than the first. Thicker armor, brighter red lights glowing. From their chests, "They're here for us," Rima said. Tomal took a deep breath. "Then we don't wait. We lead them to the traps." Cole nodded. "Let's go. Outside." The night was bright from the moonlight reflecting off the snow. The hunter drones moved like shadows, fast and silent. Tomal ran to the side of the cabin, waving a red cloth. "Hey, over here." One of the hunters turned and followed him. As it stepped forward, snap. A trap exploded beneath its feet. Electric wires shocked its leg. It stumbled, but didn't fall. Cole jumped from behind a tree and stabbed the machine. With a rod charged with energy, sparks flew. Tomal swung his axe, hitting the hunter's chest. The red light flickered, but the second hunter was still moving. It aimed an energy beam at the cabin. Before it could fire, Rima threw a small metal ball, an alien gadget Tomal didn't fully understand. The ball flashed, and a bright light blinded the hunter. Tara jumped forward and struck the machine with her stun device. The spark was small, but it hit just right. The hunter fell to one knee. Tomal ran and slammed the axe down. Crash. The red light went dark. One down. But the first hunter was still fighting. It threw Cole aside and charged at Tomal. Rima blocked its path, slashing with the knife. The blade scraped across its face. The machine paused for a second, enough time for Tara to hit it again. Cole got up, blood on his face, and grabbed the rod again. He jumped on the hunter's back and jammed it deep into its neck. The red light burst. Sparks flew. Then silence. They all stood still, breathing hard. The snow around them was marked with burns, cracks, and broken machine parts. Tomal dropped to his knees. "It's done." Rima knelt beside him. "We survived." Cole laughed weakly. Again, Tara wiped snow from her face. "We're not just survivors now." Tomal looked at her. "What do you mean?" She looked at all of them. "We're defenders now. Of each other." That night, they didn't speak much. The fire burned low. The wind outside was cold. But they sat close, their wounds cleaned, their spirits stronger. Tomal looked around at the three aliens who had once fallen from the sky like broken stars. Now they were fighters, friends, maybe even something more. "We keep fighting," Tomal said. "We protect this place." Rima nodded. "And we protect you," Cole added. "You saved us once. Now we save you too." Tara leaned her head on Tomal's shoulder. Together, the snow kept falling, but inside the cabin, there was light flickering, soft and strong, a fire of trust, of courage, and of something that no machine could ever destroy. The sun rose slowly over the white hills, casting soft golden light across the snow. The battle was over, but the signs of it remained. Burned trees, broken traps, bits of metal scattered like fallen stars. Inside the cabin, silence filled the air, not fear, but a silence that came after something heavy had passed. Tomal sat near the window, a bandage wrapped around his shoulder. His arm ached from the fight, but his heart was calm. He stared out at the forest, watching the sunlight melt a little snow from the trees. Behind him, Cole and Rima were working quietly to repair the damaged heater. Tara was sweeping broken wood pieces from the floor, moving slowly, carefully. No one had spoken much since the attack, but their silence wasn't cold. It was peaceful. They didn't need words to feel safe around each other anymore. Then Rima spoke. "I had a dream," she said, not looking up. "I was back home, in the Sky City, but it felt empty." Cole looked at her. "Were we there?" "No," she said. Only silence. Tomal turned from the window. "Do you want to go back there?" Rima didn't answer at first. Then she looked at Tomal. "I don't know." Later that day, Tomal brought out the old radio again. It still worked, though the signal was weak. Rima helped him adjust the frequency. They sent out another message, just a short one. "This is Rima, Cole. Tara, Survivors of shuttle crash. We are alive, safe, waiting. After the message went out, they all stood in silence, listening to static. No reply. To Mel turned the radio off. We'll try again tomorrow. But something had changed. Cole looked at the others. If they do come, and they tell us to return, will we go? Rima looked at Tomel, then at the cabin, then at the sky. I don't think I can leave, she whispered. Tara stood slowly. I don't want to. Tomel's heart beat a little faster. You're saying you'd rather stay here? Rima nodded. You gave us more than shelter. You gave us a home, Cole said. We fought together. That means more than orders from a far world. Tara added softly, we're not leaving you. Tomel didn't know what to say. He had never asked them to stay. He thought they would leave as soon as they had the chance. But now, they were choosing to stay. Not because they had to, because they wanted to. He looked around his small cabin. Once, it was just a place to survive. Now, it felt full, alive, warm. If you stay, he said slowly, this place becomes your home too. Rima smiled. It already is. That night, they sat around the fire, eating soup and bread. Tomel had found a few vegetables in the cellar, enough to make a proper meal. It wasn't much, but they all enjoyed it. Cole told a story about a game on his home planet where young ones ran across tall beams above energy pools. He used his hands to show how he had fallen once and how his teacher had pulled him out with a magnet rope. Everyone laughed. Rima shared how she had always wanted to visit another world, but never like this. I thought Earth would be scary, but it's beautiful. Tara said nothing for a while, then quietly added, I feel more alive here than I ever did back home. Tomel stirred the fire. I used to think I was the last person here. Now I feel like I was waiting for something I didn't understand. Rima nodded. You were waiting for us, and we were waiting for you. The next morning, a weak signal came through the radio, a crackling voice, not human. Message received. Location known. Return ship may arrive soon. Rima stared at the radio. So did Cole and Tara. Tomel looked at them. It's your people. No one spoke for a long moment. Then Cole said, if they come, they may not let us stay. Rima looked down. They may force us to return. Tara looked out the window. Do we run again? Tomel stood up. No, you don't run anymore. Not from them. Not from anyone. If they come, we talk. If they listen, good. If they don't, he paused. Then we decide what happens next. Together, Rima smiled. We're not alone anymore. For the next 2 days, they prepared not for battle, but for choice. They packed a few bags, just in case. They stored food, fixed the roof, and cleaned the cabin. Not because they were leaving, but because it was their place now. Their home. Tomel made a shelf for Tara's flower stones. Rima added drawings to the wall, earth trees mixed with stars. Cole carved small wooden shapes and placed them near the fire. Even the broken hunter's parts were used to make tools and decorations. What once brought fear now gave strength. On the 3rd day, a shadow passed over the forest, a ship, silent, silver, and large. It hovered high above, scanning. Rima, Cole, and Tara stood with Tomel outside the cabin. Looking up, they came, Rima whispered. Tomel asked, what will you do? Tara looked at him, then took his hand. We already decided. The ship hovered for a few minutes, then slowly moved away. No lights, no weapons, no landing. It disappeared behind the clouds. They waited. No return, no voice, nothing. Tomel looked at the others. Maybe they heard you? Rima smiled. Maybe. They understood. Cole laughed softly. Maybe they were scared of you. They all laughed. That evening, the cabin glowed with golden light. The fire was warm. The air was filled with the smell of fresh bread and stew. Tomel stood at the door, looking at the stars. Behind him, 3 aliens sat around the table, laughing and talking like old friends. He smiled. They had come as strangers, broken and afraid. Now, they were family. Spring came slowly to the mountains. The snow melted little by little, turning into small streams that ran down the hills. The trees began to show green again. Birds returned, singing in the early morning. The cold, silent world was waking up. So was the cabin. Tomal stepped outside and stretched his arms toward the sun. The wind was softer now, and the sky above was blue and wide. Behind him, the door opened and Cole came out carrying a strange metal tool. "We fixed the water pipe," Cole said proudly. "Now we don't have to carry buckets." Tomal smiled. "Good work." Inside, Tara was planting small seeds in wooden boxes near the window. She had learned about gardening from Tomal and loved watching things grow. Next to her, Rima was writing in a notebook, drawing a map of the valley. She had labeled the trees, the stream, and the safe paths through the forest. The cabin had changed. New shelves were added. The floor had been cleaned and painted. Strange. Glowing lights from the alien ship now hung above the table, mixing with Earth-made lanterns. The place no longer looked like a lonely home. It looked alive. It was alive. One day, Tomal found a surprise. While walking through the woods near the crash site, he saw something hidden under the snow and leaves, a small, unbroken box from the alien ship. He carried it back to the cabin. Rima opened it carefully. Inside was a smooth silver device. She gasped, "It's a beacon seed. A new one." Cole leaned over. "We can make a new signal." Tara looked at Tomal. "Do we want to?" Everyone became quiet. Tomal looked at them and spoke softly. "If you send a new message, what will you ask for?" Rima closed the box gently. "Not rescue," she said. "Not this time." Cole smiled. "Maybe permission to stay." Tomal laughed. "You don't need permission to stay here. This land is free." Tara nodded. "Then maybe we just say, 'We're home now.'" And that's what they did. That evening, they sent out a new signal using the beacon seed. It was short, simple. "We are alive. We are safe. We have found home. Do not follow." Weeks passed. No one came. No more hunter drones. No voices from the sky. Just peace. The nearby village, still small and quiet, had started hearing whispers about the man in the hills, with strange guests, but no one came to bother them. People respected Tomal, and the few that did see Cole or Rima from a distance didn't scream or run. One local hunter even gave Tomal a basket of eggs and said with a grin, "Whatever you're hiding up there must be helping you. You look happier." Tomal only smiled and said, "I guess I've got good company now." The seasons turned. The garden grew green and full of life. Rima painted the walls with scenes of the stars. Cole built a windmill that powered a small heater. Tara baked flatbread, using earth wheat, and added sweet roots from a nearby plant she had discovered. Tomal found himself laughing more, smiling more. He had lived alone for so long that he had forgotten how it felt to share small things, meals, stories, silence. One evening, as they sat around the fire, Cole asked Tomal, "Do you ever wish we had never come?" Tomal looked around. At them, Rima sitting with a cup of tea, Tara placing a flower in a jar, Cole waiting for his answer. He shook his head. "No, I think I was waiting for you all along." Tara tilted her head. "Waiting? How did you know?" Tomal looked into the fire. "I didn't, but when you came, something felt right. I wasn't saving strangers. I was finding something I didn't know I'd lost." Rima smiled. "A family?" Tomal nodded. "Yes." One afternoon, a small silver box appeared near the cabin door. It wasn't dropped from a ship or carried by a drone. It was just there. Inside was a message, short, "Signal received. You are free to stay. No one will follow." They read it twice. Cole grinned. They listened. Tara let out a small laugh. "We're free." Rima looked at Tomal. "We can stay as long as we want." Tomal nodded slowly. "Then let's build a bigger garden." They spent the next weeks building a new storage shed, a second room on the cabin, a wooden fence to keep out wild animals. The sound of tools, laughter, and life filled the air. The cabin was no longer just a shelter in the woods. It was a home. Their home. One evening, after a long day of work, Tomal and the others sat on a bench outside, watching the stars appear. Cole pointed at one star. "That's my home world, right there." Rima pointed at another. "And that one was where I trained to fly." Tara stayed silent for a moment. Then she said, "They're far now, and I'm okay with that." Tomo looked up at the sky, then at the land around him. He didn't need to point. This was his home. And now, it was theirs too. The fire inside the cabin burned low, casting soft light on the wooden walls, the new shelves, the drawings, the flowers. And the strange mix of earth and alien inventions. Tomo looked around and smiled. He had once lived alone in silence. Now, every corner of the cabin held a memory, every sound, footsteps, voices. Laughter was a reminder that he was no longer lost, and neither were they. The end.